All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, today we are going to just be having a general discussion about leveling in Warframe and how it really hopefully needs to change. Because leveling in Warframe is one of the most important things. It is one of the things that we do most often while, just forming our weapons, forming our Warframes, and this video is mostly going to be talking about forming Warframes and how that specifically needs to be adjusted so that we can actually use the thing that we are investing in when we use that forma. What I mean by that is that recently I, of course, formed Titania for the Titania video that I very recently released. And I'm sure a number of you noticed that in my mod selection screen, I have a few named loadouts, and then I have leveling sucks. Now, this loadout I very commonly use because leveling sucks. Leveling Warframes sucks, and I want it to be over as fast as possible. And the thing that gets done right now, and I do have a whole video on doing this, is using Thermal Sunder in your first slot, replacing the ability no matter what it is, so that it is immediately unlocked and you can use Thermal Sunder right away. And then putting as many mods as you can in here to optimize utilizing Thermal Sunder to kill enemies in Sanctuary Onslaught as fast as you can, and just doing that for the entire run. Basically, you just spam Thermal Sunder and you play as Goss for the entirety of that run until your Warframe is leveled. This is because Warframes gain the most XP from direct kills that they do. And if your Warframe does not have a first ability that is a great DPS ability, a la like a Saren or something like that, your first ability probably is terrible for leveling and it's not going to get you anywhere. So Thermal Sunder can take all of that and do the whole thing. No matter what the rest of your abilities are, you just build for Thermal Sunder, and that is how you level. The other way to level is to essentially, if you're not, of course, going to spend the resources to put Thermal Sunder on every single frame that you want to forma, the other way is to obviously just type health into this and put all the mods in here that say they add health into here, and then you play as Jank in Aros until your Warframe is at least level 10. Or all the way up until 30 if they really need, their ult to be max level or what have you. Those are like basically the ways that we level right now, and they suck. And the reason that they suck is because we get a Warframe where you have you get them to rank 30 and you have a mostly functional build, and you have all your powers and you can use everything that is the Warframe. Like on Titania, Razorwing might as well be the point of Titania. Like, she has other abilities. Spellbind is fine. You use it basically, in conjunction with Razorwing Blitz usually, but it's like a fine ability. Tribute, it's got half of it is good, right? You got Thorns and Dust. Those are the good parts of this ability. You got those. And then, you obviously have Pull on here, but you have Titania's third ability, which is probably her weakest. But regardless, you have her full kit to be utilized whenever you have a max rank Warframe. And whenever you forma them, they go back to rank 0 and they become nothing again. And I hate that. I really wish that we had a similar effect that we have with weapons as Warframes relate to leveling whenever your MR is higher. And what I mean by that is that you get your powers and you rank up your powers at certain different levels as you rank up to 30. At rank 30, obviously all your abilities are maxed. Rank 10 is whenever you first get your ult, so on and so forth. And you start with your 1, all that good business. I really wish the DE would come in and make a change on Warframes that once you forma them, if you're MR20, you get MR20 worth of your abilities. Because as it stands right now, if I was to forma this Warframe, because I'm legendary rank 1 or whatever, but I'm MR30 for all intents and purposes, I get all of the points. I make a full build. I just add a polarity. I gain points whenever I forma things. I literally just gain points to be immediately used. But even in that situation where I just have all the points in the world to utilize for stuff, I'm still not playing as the Warframe that I am investing into. I'm playing as Goss. I'm playing as Inaros. I'm playing as some other frame that I don't want to be playing as because I'm investing in Titania. I want to play as Titania. That's why I'm investing more resources into her. And it really blows that the state of this so far is that we don't get to utilize the Warframe that we are playing as while we are leveling them. And for the first time leveling them, that's fine. You don't know like what your abilities do, just like slowly leveling up and trying them out. And I think all that business is totally fine. But whenever you're forming, that's whenever you should just have access to your abilities. You already figured out what they did. You already found out what your abilities did, and now you know, hopefully, what you're doing with the Warframe. We should just have these unlocked at least up to whatever our MR states we should be at. If we're MR 10, we should start with level 1 of all of our abilities. If we're MR 30, just start with them all maxed. Like, just doing stuff like that would just make things so much better in terms of just actually getting to play as Titania. Because the way that I can level Titania, even if I only was MR 10, if I just started with Razorwing can kill stuff. I can kill things with Razorwing. I don't have to go out of my way and subsume Gauss's ability on here and play as some like offshoot frame, essentially, right? Like, it's not that Thermal Sunder is bad on Titania. Obviously, there's like a whole like exterminate running thing with Thermal Sunder that you can do with her. But usually you would replace Lantern instead of Spellbind. There's a whole big thing to go into with that build does exist. But like, just baseline, just utilizing Razorwing and killing enemies, like that just works already as Titania. And I don't feel like there's a reason that while leveling her, I shouldn't really have access to that. Because for the purposes of leveling, usually we're going to go into one mission. And due to bonus XP, you're going to get to rank 20. And then the bonus XP at the end of the mission is going to bump you up to rank 30. So for the majority of the mission that we're playing in, we're not going to have access to most of our kit outside of like the first couple abilities and like maybe level 1 of the alt for a little while. And some frames like Mesa rely on just getting to 10 and then just using your alt to level the rest of the way. But that still is just, it's still just not great because you're not playing as the actual Warframe that you're trying to invest in. That's like really the long and the short of it, is that the leveling experience is not good for kind of no reason. Because on the other hand, you have a weapon like the Glaive Prime, for example. If I am leveling this weapon, I'm going to get points up to whatever MR I have, and it's going to work at complete full capacity of what the Glaive Prime is. I'm not going to be missing functionality. I'm not going to have to unlock my heavy attack button. I'm not going to have to like level it up in such a way where it's a completely different thing. I don't have, I'm not getting my critical chance as it levels. It's not becoming what it actually is as it levels up. I just have the weapon, and then whatever mods I can fit into it as per my mastery rank are what capabilities that it's going to give me. And that's great. As someone who is higher MR, leveling weapons is not a pain because I just get to put builds into it. And then whenever I need a forma to fit more, I just fit more, and I can continue using that weapon that I want to keep investing in. And I know what I'm going to get. I don't have to switch to some nonsense build that's not even going to make sense for it whenever it's finally rank 30. I just get to use the item itself and experience that and get to use the tool that I want to use because obviously I'm investing in it for a reason. And that's the kind of experience I would really like to see applied to the Warframes themselves, because if we are in a situation where I'm not looking at, say, leveling Excal and going, okay, so to level Excal, I'm either going to have to suffer through the first, 10 ranks of not really doing anything because his 1 is not a good DPS ability for higher level missions, and neither is his 3, and his 2 is a defensive ability, which doesn't help me kill stuff, so I'm going to level extremely slowly. And then when I finally get to rank 10, I can finally be Excal. I can finally be what Excalibur is, which is centered around Exalted Blade. Instead, I would just drop into a mission. I'd be like, yeah, I've got my Exalted Blade. I'm motherfucking Excalibur. And I can just do what that Warframe does and have a very enjoyable time with the mods I've been able to put in him in his formed state, whether I'm MR10, MR20, MR30, etc. I could just be able to use Excalibur. I do think, personally, that based on the way DE have done things with, getting your capacity tied to your MR, that's probably the most logical way to do it in terms of what ranks of powers you're going to have going into a mission. And that's also tied into being fine because most of the player base, or at least the largest populated MRs, are MR10 and above. Or MR10, it's like MR10 to 12-ish is the most populated MRs as far as we know right now based on data that DE have given us. So most players would have a much better formatting experience because they'll actually have the kit that they're trying to invest in to utilize. For lower invested players that are like, MR6 or whatever, it is obviously going to be worse. And there is an argument, I think, for making it so that if you format, you at least get rank 1 of all your abilities, but you'll get more than that based on if your MR is high enough. I think that is maybe like a way to split the difference that makes it better also for those people who are in the lower MRs to make the experience better for them. But there's a lot of ways that this could just be better than it is right now, because right now it's just unfortunate because taking these completely rift builds into these missions like that don't synergize with like going into Razorwing and stuff and are just built around like one ability or just not dying so that you can get those rank ups just doesn't facilitate fun gameplay with a large number of Warframes. Like, there are a ton of Warframes that need these power stats in order to like really get things done, especially when their abilities are those lower level versions of like rank 1 and rank 2. And if you just need to be able to survive because your survival ability is your third power and you're just going to die first things first in any mission if you're rank 1 and you have only your 1, which might be a bad ability on some Warframes. Like, say you're Chroma. Is Chroma a Warframe before he's like high rank enough to have his 3? Kinda no. Chroma kind of isn't even a Warframe, essentially, before he's rank 3, because that is the thing that ties his entire kit together to make him like a real character you'd want to use. Using him without that is, you might as well just be using a blank slate with nothing on it. Like, might as well not exist. Even his 2 is mostly just a synergy with his 3 to that end. And obviously that's more of an extreme case, but like, there are a number of Warframes that fall into that category. And I really do think that it just needs to change purely because leveling sucks. And it really doesn't need to. Like, we had this we had this solution for getting like the capacity equal to your MR, and I just think that needs to be expanded slightly, specifically for Warframes, so that we can play more Warframe in variety and less Warframe in Inaros or Goss if you want to invest a large amount of resources into any given Warframe that you want to be leveling. And that's really what's up. That's just generally stuff I wanted to talk about here, just because I had, just like another bad time just having to be like, oh yeah, I threw this build on another Warframe again. Guess I'm going to hit 1. And that was my experience with Titania. I just brought it back where it's like, yeah, this doesn't need to be this way. Just like the large feeling of this doesn't need to be this way. Anyway, thank you guys for hanging out watching the video. I'm going to leave the rest of the run here of me leveling Titania in. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. It's just generally, how the leveling process goes with this build if you haven't seen it. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Enter the conduit. now. Hunter! The sanctuary will go on without you.